All right, so I'm Brian Houk. This is my wife Katrina, and we are parents of two great kids that have gone to CVCA, or one has graduated from CVCA and one is still there and is a sophomore.
I would say that sending our kids to CVCA has given them a opportunity to know and nurture God's Word and to take their hope and to share it with others on a very personal level. I think you can't overlook the fact sometimes that, when you go from public to private school, that there is there's a financial commitment there, and for us, that was a bit of a concern, but after the fact, it was like, it is worth double. Triple. You're giving them a gift that you can't really explain to people until you're in the presence of CVCA. The faculty, from the faculty to the students, and the education has been amazing.
And so when you start to learn a little bit more about CVCA and you kind of walk through the building and you see that educating and cultivating, servants for Christ, and the more that we got to know the school and got to know the people that were around the school, it kind of felt like they really lived that brand. And so that was something that made it kind of easy to have a decision around, changing schools, changed where we lived. Katrina and I had been extremely active in our community of Copley and coached sports teams and did what all parents do, right? There were Girl Scouts, and Katrina always volunteered at all the different elementary school and middle school events and high school events, and was a coach herself. And so there was just a lot of things that we were kind of ingrained in. So that made it somewhat difficult because, what we didn't want was to say that we were moving away from somewhere else. I think we just both saw a really great opportunity for our kids to connect to Christ in a much deeper way, and to be supported by a community of believers and kind of learn some things that maybe we didn't learn in our walk with Christ early in our high school years or college years. Our children know God, and if you take that kind of salt and light out of the local community, like, isn't that where we're supposed to be? And I was reminded by a couple of the men that I know who had sent their kids to CVCA. They said, your children aren't equipped to deal with that. And so, like, one of the reasons that they felt like we should consider the school was that they will equip your kids to deal with that. And so by the time they leave there and go into the world and face those challenges and are able to be a salt and light type of person, in high school they're just not equipped for that. And so you're kind of playing with fire a little bit in terms of, what the results of that might be. It could turn out just fine, but could go completely the other way. And so that kind of hit home to me as another sort of reason or something that we found that by putting them into that community, we gave them a much better chance of not having to repeat just some of the mistakes that a lot of us have made in life, and being more educated and more grounded in their walk with Christ before they find their way out in the world.
So much more than just an education. It is just way above. And when you are going to these open houses and these smaller individual, you don't have anything to put it with, but now that we have 3.5 years of experiencing it, it is just a step above on so many levels. And it's very personal and loving. And you have your church, and we are the church, and that's wonderful. And then the fact that you have a school like CVCA that you can reiterate and educate all of God's word and love, and I think that's amazing.
They're able to relate to the world through the lens of being a Christian. I think that was obviously for your investment. It's a pretty good payout. The thing that I would say though that is probably equal to that in my mind is the relationships that we've watched our children build with the other kids that go there. There is a difference when those kids show up in your home and we've entertained their kids, their friends. It's a different type of kid that comes out of the CVCA program.